answer any questions. In England, we have the Lawrence case. How many more times are we going to be victims? This is a question. We need to look at that. When I heard about the Omar bombing, the first thing that I heard was the blackest day in Ireland. And I thought, me not see no black people there. What are they talking about? And then I thought to myself, you see, it's through the media. And then I heard A-level results are out by a black presenter or Asian presenter on Channel 4. He said, it's been a black day for A-level results. I never saw them showing any black pupils collecting their results. I never saw any results about black students. These things have to be addressed. We need to look about how we're looking. Every time I look at the TV and I see a music video now, I have to ask myself, what are we really representing? If you feel the same way or you'd like to contribute, please call 0956 367 691. As I understand it, there's been quite a few things happening in and around the world, especially Clinton. Let's talk about him, because at the end of the day, I have to look and I have to say to my man, right, who I've got enough respect for, but still I have to say that I feel that he's letting the slide down a bit, Nelson Mandela. Him go and he was with Winnie, right? And Winnie stand with him by everything, true everything. And then what happens? He divorces her. Clinton does everything with his wife standing right next to him, and she is still honoring him. I have to look and I have to readdress what kind of thinking, what is our mindsets? Because I do feel that if we change the mindsets today, tomorrow, or even yesterday, that's power for us. And things and time, everything happens in things and time. Please do call in. The number is 0956 367 691.
Are the people station. We are the people station. We are the people station. We are Genesis FM. Genesis FM. London.
Accept your own and be yourself. Thank you for listening. Assalamu alaikum.
We are Genesis FM. London.
Black power station, educate the nation. Love that.
We are Genesis FM. London.
Hi, this is Horace Brown. Educate yourself. This is Horace Brown, and I'm listening to Genesis, and you should too, because you can educate yourself and your youth.
We are Genesis FM. London.
Genesis, London's only #1 station.
Genesis FM.
Stay tuned to Genesis Radio, and you'll know how to live as one. This is Luciano.
Genesis FM. London.
Yeah, I've just found enough to ask, what does Genesis really stand for?
Unity in the community. Lennox Lewis said that. We are Genesis FM.
London's only #1 station.
Genesis the Pullman Radio.
Yo, how much time we have a want so the gun for us drop out of the palm, you know? His Imperial Majesty's work, a sizzler so that when I put it down now.
The people station. The people station. Genesis FM.
This is Genesis Station. Educating the younger generation. Shucks almighty.
We are the people station.
Oh my goodness. What would I do without Genesis?
Genesis FM.
Hi, this is Sylvia Teller, and I tune into Genesis because they reach.
We are the people station. We are the people station. We are the people station. We are Genesis FM. Genesis FM. London.
Trying to check the line, and the number is 0956 367 691. Can someone please call in, because I'm not sure if everyone's been able to get through on the line. Can you please call 0956 367 691? Can you please assist and just call in the line so I know that the call's getting through or not, please? Thank you very much. Right, back onto the topics of today, because I think we ought to not only talk but listen as well. Have you ever wondered, when you walk through a chemist, about nadenoma, about facial success problems? Do you understand what I mean by facial success? I mean, the lighter the better, the fade-out creams. I've seen nadenoma. I've seen everybody's jumping into the market. Why is this? Why are we seeking to bleach out the melanin in our skin? Do people like Michael Jackson really have an effect on us, on our psyche? I mean, this is a very important question that needs to be addressed. And on our children's psyche, is it still better to be light rather than to be dark? I think there's a caller coming in. Let's see if I can take this call. Oh, right, I seem to have lost the call. That's a shame. Never mind, but I'd like to know, that caller, can you please call in again, because I can't wait to talk to you. Anyway, back to the point I was making. I'm wondering, why are all these facial lightening products coming out? And I'm seeing African women, no disrespect to African women, right? ISIS. The point I'm making is that I've seen black hands and white face. Do you understand? I've seen women, black women, staying out of the sun because of a simple advert which tells us that we ought to protect our skins. We are children of the sun. We are melanated. I always seem to come onto that subject of melanin because I think that's also something that we ought to know more about. And if anyone's out there got any information about melanin, then please call in, because it's essential for us all to learn from each other. I'd also like to go to Windrush. It seemed somewhat to gloss over, respect to everybody that was involved in it, but it did seem to somewhat gloss over the hardships that we've actually endured during this time that our foreparents and our parents are here. And also the losses, the exploitation, the degradation, the loss of life, death in custody. All these things weren't happening on the scale that they're happening until we were here. You know, and those things should be looked at in accordance with Windrush as well, and all of us that have been attacked or have suffered and been victims of racism as well. Please call in. The number is 0956 367 691. You're in tune to Genesis Radio 91.6 FM, the People's Talk Show. Please call in. The live link number is 0956 367 691.
Blessed is she. The Lord shall deliver her in a day of...
Hello. Hello. I was just going to make a comment on one of the points that you made about being black and staying out in the sun and stuff.
Yeah.
What was the point of you saying that we shouldn't be staying out of the sun, and that just because we've got melanin in our skin, that means we're naturally protected?
Yeah.
So that is true, but only to a certain extent. You know, we're only six times more likely, or less likely, to get skin cancer than a white person, for instance. Just because we have it in our skin doesn't mean to say that we should necessarily stay out in the sun. You know, especially if we're from this country where we're not used to having the sun. Obviously in the Caribbean and where it's hotter and all the rest of it, they're naturally conditioned to that. But it shouldn't be a case of we should just go out and sit in the sun all day.
Have you heard of a based illness which is called melanin, which is toxic? Do you understand what that means?
Yeah, I understand what that means, and I understand what you're saying, but the fact still remains that just because we have melanin in our skin does not mean that we cannot contract skin cancers of various types from staying out in the sun.
Did you know that cancer starts from within? Cancer starts from within. And so far as staying out in the sun, when you see your African brothers and sisters staying out in degrees of 130 degrees,
that's
right,
because they're naturally conditioned to it.
Right. What I'm trying to say is that when you go out in the sun, do you not get darker? Do you not? Do you not?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah,
right.
but I burn. If I just come back from a 2-month holiday, yeah, and I was somewhere where it was a hell of a lot hotter than it is here. And I burn, my skin burns. That's because I'm not naturally conditioned to the situations. If I was born in Africa and have to live with the sun each day, then obviously, you know, your body deals with it. I was born and raised in London, and going off to Jamaica or going off to wherever, I'm not just going to sit out in the sun just because I'm black and just because I've got melanin in my skin. That's ridiculous.
I never ever said just. I never ever said just sit in the sun. I'm saying that we are avoiding the sun and avoid darkening our skins, as I talked about lightening our skins. And I'm saying that it's a mentality, right?
Oh, okay.
How many black people do you know that actually have skin cancer or actually get skin cancer? The warning is for those people who are melanin, who have less, exactly, less melanin,
yeah.
Sorry.
I can take your point. I'm taking your point.
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying.
No, thanks, sis. I mean, have you got anything else that you'd like to talk about as well? Because you sound like you've got a lot of information to educate the nation.
Let me see. The thing about the lightening the skin, I mean, I'm quite dark, and I don't understand why people are doing it. If they're doing it maybe to even their tone skin, which is probably one issue. If they're doing it to change themselves, I mean, changing your outside appearance does not help what's inside. If they think that they can become something else, they're sadly mistaken, I think.
Oh, I agree. I mean, what message would you have to those women that do choose to buy it? Because, I mean, when you think about it, what does it actually do to your skin?
It probably thins your skin. It's not going to help you. I doubt very much it's going to help you in the long run. Especially if you're going out in the sun, that doesn't help. Or just generally, you know, when you get older, it has much dumb repercussions. I can't think that you'd be using something so toxic, because that's exactly what it is. And it not have a side effect, it not have some effect in the long run.
Can I find out your name and where you're calling from, please?
This is Dee from Peckham.
Dee from Peckham. Dee, your call's very interesting because, can I ask your age?
24.
24, right. So you're reasonably older than a lot of the youth that are coming out and being influenced by those things. But do you think that music videos, lighter-skinned women showing off their tootsies and everything, and the general kind of no positive role models in terms of a beautiful black woman, in terms of being truly African, exists out there? That's why they're doing these kinds of things and why these products are selling by millions.
Well, maybe. I mean, at one stage, I think it's gotten a little better for black role models. At one stage, yes, it was. Or I think it was the case, the lighter the better, you know? But I think we have more black, when I say darker skinned, role models that we should look at. But like you said, it's all a mentality thing, you know? It's all an education thing that you're supposed to, however you're born, you're supposed to be happy with that, and you're supposed to love yourself for that, and respect that's the way you're born. I mean, it doesn't help when you do have light-skinned models in all the papers and all the magazines. And then, of course, the younger children are going to be, well, I want to be like that, or I want to be as thin, or I want to be as whatever. So, no, it doesn't help. It doesn't help at all.
I agree with that. I mean, in your own sort of, I'd say, clique or your friends, right?
Yeah.
When you see, you know, like you go to a concert and for instance you go to an SWV, that's just an example concert, and you see all the women all looking like the leading of SWV. Do you think that has some kind of effect on the mentality?
Oh yes, it does, because those are the role models. Those are the only ones you've got, and people will always want to aspire to what they think is the best, or what they've been educated to think is the best. So it does have an effect. I mean, when you see these skinny girls dancing up and down, that's just like such a small percent of the population who are like that. But yet there are people starving themselves and becoming anorexic and blah blah blah, trying to be like that. It's not very good. It isn't very good, and yes, it does have an effect.
Yeah. You know? I think so. I think that, I mean, basically,
when you've got people like Lauryn Hill, she's quite very natural looking. You've got Erykah Badu, who's quite natural looking. Missy, who's, you know, then those are the people maybe that we should be looking towards, as opposed to supermodels or, you know, that scale of people. So it's possible to, you know, to be successful and be a natural person, you know, as opposed to trying to move towards something that you're really not.
So you think natural is the way forward?
Yeah, I do. Well, to a certain extent, if it suits you and you like it and you're happy with it, then fine, you know. If it's not for everybody, don't get me wrong, but I think we'll have a lot less problems if everybody moves in that direction. You know, dropped off, oh, I've got to do this, and I've got to do this, and I've got to lighten my skin, and I've got to lose 6 stones or whatever it is. There's more important things to concentrate on in life than those things. Those things are only skin deep.
Superficial.
You know, it is only superficial.
Yeah.
It is only superficial. You know, there are more important. There's self-education, you know, helping you yourself get somewhere, bringing those with you. Those are the real issues that we should be dealing with. But, you know, unfortunately, not everybody sees things like I do.
Listen. No, I completely understand what you're saying, and I think dealing with those issues is what talk shows are about. And what kind of solution? How do you think that we can actually change the mindset of the black nation, and how do you think you can contribute to that today?
Oh, man.
Come on.
It's so difficult.
This is the Sunday service.
It's so difficult. It does start with education. It does start with trying to get everybody to the same mindset, which is an incredible task for anybody. I don't think our education system in Britain as it stands really helps us as a black people get to that mindset, that's for sure. Because I mean, I hated school. I didn't do very well, but yeah, just with the person I am and the strength I have in myself, I've achieved. I'm quite well off now, you know, aside from the education issue. So there's that. I don't think we have. The community is not as strong, or it's not rallying around each other as much as it should be. And I think that counts for a lot. We're not really looking out for each other as much, you know, so I think that counts for a lot. You know, at one stage it was, I mean, this is before my time, and this is only stories I've heard from older people, you know, if you saw a child out, and although it might not be your child doing something wrong, you were quite perfectly welcome to get that child and shake that child up. And I think, because we've lost some of that, it leads to, you know, people just going wayward and how they, you know, going how they want.
So
no
one cares about
like
each other.
That, you know, like the saying, you know, it takes a whole village to raise a child. It's to some extent very true. You know?
No, I agree with that. I agree with that. I agree with that because, I mean, nowadays, what it is, you chastise your child's going to run out into the street. It's going to cross this busy road.
Social services or something. I mean, it's social services. When I was young, you would get killed for it. You just dare not. But now it's so easy. You can divorce your parents. What kind of rubbish is that, basically? You know, you can't. It's a different society that we live in, and we need to bring back some of those underlying values. And you know, with time it will change, because it's not something that you can change overnight by any means. You know, but it will change, and it's up to each parent now to try to teach their child values, and you know, this is the way you should be, and this is the way you can be, and this is what you can achieve, and try to steer them away from you know being on the street and doing things that they shouldn't perhaps be doing.
You tell them about the cans instead of the can'ts, because...
Oh, yeah, exactly. If you keep saying, you can't do this, you can't do that, then they're going to, by nature, want to go and try those things and get bread. You know, if you tell a child, don't, 9 out of 10 times, the child's going to try it, and then, you know, by experience, we have to try to stop that from happening, I feel.
I think so. I think if we can now start to educate our children from a very, very young age, basically to be proud of themselves. I'm not talking about pride in the negative sense, but proud in the sense of knowledgeable regarding themselves, their physiology, and their mentality, and the capabilities of their brains. You know, and also knowing that the teachers, which are teaching you in school, is only one small percentage of your education.
Well, this is it. There is only one small percent. I mean, I have a brother who's just come out of GCSE secondary school, and he was constantly told, your work's not up to scratch, and that did have an impact on him. You know, it took time to undo all that and say, you know, that is only one very small part of your education. Important, yes, it might be, but like I said, it won't make or break you. You know, there's other things you can go and do to get where you're going. There are those choices, and it's the undoing bit and the doing that we need to sort out.
Choices. Very interesting word. Choices. I agree with that, because choices, for me, choices is something that we all have. There are options. Some people say, oh, I'm not getting out of this situation. For instance, a battered wife, or a battered girlfriend, or a woman who takes abuse. She feels that she can't get out of the situation. She feels that there is no way out of the situation. Of course there's a choice. She has a choice. And in the same way that we are victims of racism, we have a choice.
There is a choice to be made, but it's for us who can see that there's a choice to tell those who can't. It's for the whole community to lift the profile of those choices. Do you know what I mean? It's all well and good there being choices, but if nobody knows about them, there may as well not be one. And it's the active role that we have to take, you know, to, yes, we have to live by it. In certain parts of the world, they're living quite, you know, it's okay for them. They're doing what they want to be doing, and they don't have to put up with that and lose that respect. Why should we? You know, we've tolerated it. That's what it is. We've tolerated it when we shouldn't have been. You know?
So how do we change?
It's a really tough question. I don't know.
Of course we know. We all know.
If every one person took a moment to think, you know, take a stop on the, you know, we need to get together, and we need to sort things out, and we need to get things done, then that's only going to change, you know, mass in mass. One person or a few people, they might make a little change if they sort of infect the other people with that knowledge, you know, you say to your friend, well, how do you think about this, and get them to think, and they might pass it on, and I think that's the only way it will change. It will only come from us. It's not going to be anything from outside. You know, it'll only come from within ourselves.
Yeah.
You know, within our community. It won't be anything external to that. And until we realise that, and obviously there has to be some, I suppose, some leading part, or some person, some figurehead to steer us in the right direction.
Yeah.
And rally us together as we should be, and like how we're not. Then no, I don't think it will change. So that's the only way it will change.
Yeah.
And idealistic. That's very idealistic, but I think it's closer to the truth than not.
Well, you have to have ideals. If you don't have ideals, what do you have? I mean, you have to start at some point. There is something that I suppose I could tell you about, which is a situation which is called BOP. Yeah. BOP, BOP, and it stands for Black Operation Positive, and it's a BOP collective as a crew. They're working musically to actually try and put positive messages through music. And I know they're going to have something that's going to be coming out next year. So, you know, I'll keep you posted on that. I've got your name, Dee, from Peckham. And it's good to know, because then when you play a record to your child, you'll be playing them something that's positive, you know, as opposed to what they're getting from the outside. If we can push this and we all go out and we buy BOP records, for instance, and we buy the BOP single, and we buy the BOP compilation as a community, as a nation, we will make sure that we can get it into the charts, you know, sell 150,000 copies. There's 6 million black people in this country, come on, around about, right? And I'm talking people of colour, I mean non-white. And if we can all go and buy that record, put it in the chart, and we're promoting something positive, right, and we're creating money within that, then we can start to reinvest. And then we can start to have little email schools or internet schools, you know, with the sites on that we want our children to see and learn about. And we have our own scientists and our own teachers teaching them on a rotational basis in community halls for £20 a day. Come on, is it so hard? Did you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I can understand what you're saying, and I totally agree with you. It's not difficult, but again, it takes...
Organisation.
It takes organisation to do something like that. But I mean, if it's well organised, then yes, it will work.
Well, I see this. I see the white race as an organisation, and I see the non-white race as an organisation. So within that organisation, we need to get organised. And I think that all that means is communication. And even by you linking the station today, you're making a change, because someone will be listening to you and someone will be affected by your words. Did you see where I'm coming from? No, it's true. It's absolutely true. Every word said is a word valued. And every word heard, right, is a word that must have been listened to and taken in. So, you know, if we look at it from that kind of perspective, I mean, there are more black schools now. There are more black bookshops. And there are,
definitely on the rise.
It's definitely on the rise. What do you think the millennium holds for us?
Oh, man. I have no idea. I don't even want to think that far ahead.
See, we have to start looking forward. We have to start looking forward. You know, see what we have to start to visualise what our future's going to be, as opposed to sitting back and being dictated about what our future's going to be about. I mean, I know it sounds pretty activist, but I mean, we have to get active.
I can agree with that. I think people, I think they're becoming a little bit more aware of what's going on around them and sort of not standing for it. So as long as we speed that process up, you know, and get things done, then I think we'll be in better shape than we are now for the millennium.
Millennium. Listen, none of us can say it. Next year. Anyway, no, the point I'm making is that I've got some good news as well, which I'll sort of share with you while I'm speaking to you, because I think that you've had a lot of input, and that is that a barrister which I know of, who's called Sean Wallace, he basically, he won a case recently. And as far as I'm aware of, it is the first case of a black inmate in prison, right, when two screws were trying to kill him, broke his neck, you know, as they usually do, right, and pretend that, oh, it's natural causes, or they just hang themselves mysteriously, you know, all the kind of, you know, stuff that they like to create, the facade. Well, basically, this guy, when they were trying to do this to him, he defended himself, right? The man jumped on top of the toilet seat, mash it up, right? When they went to crick his neck, to break his neck, he jook him with it, right? Anyway, they tried to do him for attempted murder, and in law now it's 2 strikes and you're out, 3 strikes and you're out. That means if you've had more than 2 offences, your 3rd offence, you're getting a life sentence.
Okay.
Right? And basically, they won the case. And now they're going to be suing the Home Office for assault. That's right, a screw getting done for assaulting an inmate. It's a black man.
Was that covered by any of the newspapers?
No, because, I'll tell you why, because he's actually going to sue them now for assault.
Okay,
So the papers...
By law, they can't cover it then.
No, it'll be done once, you know, he's got a nice fat sum. I think when the money's out, you know, and he gets his financial retribution, then I think that it will definitely be covered by the press. But I'm keeping it locked down just for the time being. But there's an exclusive here, as you know, on Genesis 91.6. So, and you got it first, Dee. Do you see what I mean? For calling in and for talking with me, because you reached out. Do you see what I'm saying? And we all have to reach out. And I think spiritually, a lot of stuff is happening to the black race at the moment. I really, really do feel that, like, the times are here and the times are now. And I'm not just talking about religion, so I don't want to get involved in that debate. I do not get involved in that debate, you know. I'm just talking about as a collective. I think spiritually we're beginning to link, and there are positive energies and negative energies, and I think that's going to be the situation when stuff's going to happen. You know, I really do. I think the war, have you been listening to all the coverage about the war recently? What I call the war, which I call Third World War, because, I mean, at the end of the day, if you go and bomb anybody, you've got to expect something back.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and then, you know, there's been strike one, strike two, you know, and I don't know where it's leading. I really, really don't know where it's leading. What I think is that things can be changed, though, through the people. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Everything that you're saying, I really agree with. There's nothing more I could probably add to it.
Well, listen, it has been absolutely wonderful speaking to you. I've had a nice conversation. I mean, this is what talk shows are about. It's about actually having conversations. You know, I've often listened to radio stations, to name one, Talk Radio, where, I mean, I actually called in once between you and I and the whole of London. I actually called in once, right, with something really positive. I was calling in about a hydrogen-based car, which is a car which runs on air as opposed to petrol. And I wanted, like, I knew that they were national, so I wanted everybody to know about it, so, because, you know, there'll be less asthma sufferers, because there's an alternative to petrol, to fossil fuels. So, you know, I was talking about it, and he was really rude to me, and he cut me off. And I thought to myself, you see, it's about time we had one where we can actually have someone on the phone who can have a conversation.
Yeah.
So, you know, here I am, free of charge. So anyway, I'll say goodbye to you, because I do believe there's another caller waiting to come through anyway.
Okay.
So it was nice speaking to you. Please call in anybody else. I'll give you the live shout again. Listen, ISIS, respect, peace and love, and give all these positive vibes to all the people around you, because if you talk, everybody else talks. And it's good to talk.
Take care.
You too. Peace and love. You're in tune to Genesis 91.6 FM, Genesis Radio. This is the live link number 0956 367 691. You're in line to Jools. Hello? Okay. Oops, I think I've lost the caller. Hang on. Right, I'm glad if you were listening to that. You can, if you've got anything to add, and I'm sure there must be things to add on that. There must be things that you want to talk about on that, because it's a very, very, very important issue to talk about. Call on. Hello?
Hold on. I'm trying to turn it down.
Hello? Turn your radio down a bit, please. Hello?
Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine. Who am I speaking to?
I was listening to you and the other caller, and I want to say to her about the melanin business. She said that she's of dark complexion, and because she's not used to the sun, when she goes to the Caribbean or anywhere, she has to cover up, but that is not exactly true.
Yeah, what's your name and where are you calling from, caller?
I'm Carol, and I'm calling from Bermondsey.
Yeah.
The thing is, I was born in Jamaica and I grew up there.
Yes.
And if black people were going to die by cancer, half the population was gone.
Thank you.
Then the other thing is, I came here, I lived here for 10 years, and when I go back to Jamaica, what happened, my skin peeled, like the first 3 days, because it's not, I'm out of the sun, and it peels because of the dead cells, because we would even understand how much dead cells we are. No matter how we bathe, it's not the same.
Yeah.
The sun is actually good for black skin
Of course
because
it is.
we are children of
the sun.
And what happens when we go there? It peels the dead cells from my skin. And, you know, after like a week, people say, oh, you have makeup on your skin? You put it on your legs as well? I said, no. It's because it's actually clean and purge my skin. It looks like that to bring the right texture to my skin. And what I have to say to her, she has the same amount of melanin as the people there. So the same amount of melanin that protects us is the same amount of melanin that will protect her. So I just need to clear that up with her. It's not that because she's not used to it. It's because she's not used to it. So when she goes there, it peels, but it's bringing her natural texture.
Yes, yes. You know what? I'm so glad that you've called in, Carol, because I was going to go into the technical side of it, and I thought, no, better not, because I might be boring.
I noticed that. And you changed the subject. I noticed that.
Because, you know, I'm not going to get into I can't get into the technical because I might alienate other listeners, and that's not what I'm aiming to do. I'm trying to promote the station and get other listeners to actually listen in.
I did pick up on that.
Yeah, but I mean, how about the other subjects? I mean, I think melanin, right, is a very, very important thing for us to know about. And there is research being done, especially in America. Have you heard of Dr. Frances Cress Wesley?
No.
No. Okay. Well, she does a lot of research. She's got a book called ISIS Papers.
Oh, yes, I read that.
Yeah, okay. And she's got quite a few more on top of that as well. And she goes into great depth. She has melanin lectures as well. And she goes into great depth when she talks about melanin. And she talks about how it affects us not only in the physical, but also in the spiritual.
Yeah.
And it's very important for us to realize the element, because that's why I asked her if her melanin was toxic. Did you understand what I was talking about?
Yeah.
Because, you know, we have to feed our melanin. You know, we ought to drink drinks like blackcurrant juices. You know, you pick them from the garden and just put them in the blender and mix it up, you know? Add a little brown sugar and a little molasses, and there you go. You know, but we have to look after it.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, we're not going to go out in the sun, half naked. You have a T-shirt on and a short jeans. You don't go out there with, you know.
I mean, if you look at our brothers and sisters over there on the African continent, a lot of them don't wear no clothes, right?
Yeah.
They just wear their bottoms. The women, especially in like Sierra Leone, where I know this happens, like, you know, they on the beach they don't wear bras. You see what I'm saying? At the end of the day, it's a natural habitat. We've grown used to westernized thinking, right?
Yeah.
When we came in, them people were covered up from head to foot. Right? And instead of washing, they used to carry these little lavender things right by their, you know where I'm talking about, right? To avoid the smell rather than wash. So, you know, we to somewhat have contracted their thinking because we're living in the environment, you know, and westernized thinking is something that we have now become so used to that it's absolutely ingrained in our psyche.
Yeah, that's because of how the children here who go to school and the television, the radio programs they listen to. So it's like they're conditioned, and a lot of those people who, you know, need the message, they're not even listening to Genesis, you understand? So it's maybe how they were brought up and conditioned, and then some of the parents, because I was watching this program about, you know, the Caribbean, that show that come on in the night, the Caribbean Uncovered, something like that.
Oh, yeah. Please tell me, because I didn't get to see all of that,
And my cousin taped one, and there was this black lady on it, and I was saying, what the hell is this? Where did was she brought up? I mean, all thinking, and okay, I'm not saying she shouldn't have any white friends, but she must be able to teach them about herself as a black person, while she learn about them as well. But it seems she learned more about them, and they know nothing about her, and she herself knows nothing about herself and her blackness. And you know, it's where she was brought up. Her parents, she said she didn't have a lot of black friends, so.
Well, I mean, forgive me for actually. I'm gonna put on an onslaught. That's right, a verbal onslaught, because I think that's slack. At the end of the day, I was brought up in an area, and I was like the only black girl in my class. And I've never wanted to go down that road. It's a choice. And that's what I say about
You think
choice.
so?
It is a choice. You make a conscious choice. When a woman goes out there, right, and she relaxes her hair, when she looks in a magazine, right, we know that the black women are being replicas. They are imitating what they're seeing as from their white, Western counterparts. And that is a fact.
Yeah, that is true. I'll perm my hair, and I will admit that. And I think the first step of making change is to admit it.
Yeah.
When you can't admit it and you're saying, no, it's like you're burying your head in the sand, and that is true.
Yeah.
But for a lot of people, they don't want to change.
Yeah.
They enjoy what they're doing,
Yeah.
and they feel comfortable. And that's why when you were asking what the millennium holds for black people, to tell you the truth, I can't even speak for them, I just can speak for myself. And what that I have to start making change within myself and my household, and maybe, who in my household would make a contribution outside. Because it's very difficult to say I'm going to speak for black people. Because we're so different and...
We're so we're such we're divided. We're devised. There's division. There's deceit. There's so many things. But you know what? The fact is that it happens.
Yeah.
And these things are happening for a reason. So we got to look at it on a positive light. If you start with yourself, then you can spread what you've got elsewhere. In the same way that look at most organisations, large organisations such as religions, for instance, they do it by propagating. So if they may propagate their message, why can't we propagate ours?
Yeah. The thing that I think is positive is what's happening in the Caribbean. When I read, the Caribbean papers like The Voice and The Nation, is the Caribbean...
The Nation?
The Caribbean
The Voice?
country. The New Nation. Yeah.
New Nation.
Is the Caribbean countries them coming together as one?
Can I just stop you right there?
Yeah.
Right. The Voice is I've now just been informed that the Voice is owned by Jews and the New Nation is owned by a white man.
Yeah,
that's what I've just been.
I'm not talking about
ownership.
I'm talking about the word. What's in it?
Okay.
Really,
no, I've got nothing against those newspapers.
Yeah, I know.
I was just informing you what I just was informed.
Well, it's true. Well, I heard that, but
the words have been diluted.
It was the positive aspects that's in there about the Caribbean that I'm talking about. There's something in there I don't go for, and there's one writer in there I can't stand.
Who?
I won't call his name.
Go on, please. I just want to hear it.
Tony Swell.
Tony Saw?
Yeah.
You can't stand him.
No. I think he's living in I think something is wrong with him. I mean, he's down on Whitney Houston all the time and Bobby Brown marriage. Yet still he's, one article he was saying he doesn't like the fact that black people is against mixed relationships. And that why we find it so hard to think that mixed relationship will work. Yet still he's saying Bobby relationship and Whitney won't work because it's uptown girl marrying to a downtown.
Perhaps he's in a mixed relationship himself.
I think so. Because if mixed relationship can work, why a uptown girl marrying to a downtown?
Well, let me explain this, right? Black on black, right? I don't see blackbirds, right, having babies with pigeons. Right, and birds of a feather flock together, and the reason why is because his mind has got to be somewhere else. Because at the end of the day, the man that I want in my bed, has to look just like me.
Yes.
And I love that. And anyone who doesn't, I spoke to someone recently. I've just got to quickly add this. I want you to finish your point, but I'm going to add this.
Okay.
I spoke to someone recently. I asked him, why do you check white girls? He goes, you know what? Because when I go home and I meet her parents, right? He goes, I tell their parents that I'm a drug dealer, I'm on drugs, and I'm screwing your daughter, and she's on drugs too, and I'm screwing you as a white man. And I goes to him, oh, right, okay. He goes, no, I don't really like him. I was just like, but I said to him, really, aren't you hurting yourself? And then he didn't say anything. And I thought, because it's not that. Because, black sisters do look on black men when they're walking along with white women, let's face it, right? And we look in disgust. And the reason why, right, it's not because we're not open-minded, it's not because we're racist, it's just because we feel sorry for you. Because if you can look to someone else to find what you can find in yourself, it's just like looking outside for something else that's already there.
Yeah.
It shows a weakness in character.
Yeah, and I think a lot of our men are weak anyway. Because, yeah, a strong man is not afraid of any challenge from a woman, and you will never hear a strong man saying, oh, I got with white woman because of this, or I don't want a black woman because of this. A strong man will start on to any situation.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But back to my point about the Caribbean countries coming together, and it took them some time, and maybe for Europe to go against them with the banana deal, you know. So they're thinking of going for a federal Caribbean, and I think they need all the support they can get with that one, because I think they'll be powerful, you know, economically if they do that.
I think so. I mean, the one thing I see about the Caribbeans as well is that there is a lot of drug importation and exportation on the negative side, because you have to discuss that, you know, because there are so many black women coming through airports now, right, and you have been warned, right, you have been warned that they are weighing your rum bottles, right, because you can't put half a key in, right, and it don't come up on scale. Do you understand that? For anybody who's listening, they have been warned because they are just waiting for you, right, and you are being set up. Don't import and export that drug. The white drug, it's a white drug. You're putting it up your nose, you're putting it everywhere. One thing I was told by my dad when I was small, and that was don't put anything white inside or out. And no. And I don't use talc.
Yeah.
No, seriously. And that was just a strange thing when I was small, and it really stuck in my mind. And I must admit, I have a lot of colleagues and work friends and people that are white, and I mix with them. And I understand my line because they're not the ignorant ones.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about the ignorant ones.
Yeah. Because a positive white person can discuss race issues.
Exactly.
Negative one don't even want to hear it.
They don't even think they're susceptible to it because they are it.
Yeah.
You know, white supremacy has been here with us for a very long time, and there's no point ignoring it.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
But tell me, what are the actual Caribbeans doing? Because I'm not too sure. I haven't actually read the full nation. I bought it, but I haven't read it.
But ever so often, like maybe every other month or so, they have their summit or their meetings, and they going through stages. I think they thinking of taking Cuba in the CARICOM as well, and they have these meetings and their strategies that they're planning and how they go about it, going about their plans and how the banana trade is going to affect them, and that they need to do free trade within the Caribbean, and they're looking at maybe the year 2006 to have a single currency. At one stage they were planning to make Air Jamaica the national airline of the Caribbean. So they're thinking positive. It's taking them some time, but they're getting there.
They just have to repay that debt, you know, and stop them from shipping the arms and the guns and the drugs in. They burn the weed and they bring in the white stuff. What kind of rubbish is that?
I think the thing is, you know, those people are colonialized, and for a long time they used to white people dictate to them, and it's taking the younger politicians, you know, to wake up. Most of those politicians were actually educated in England and America, and they actually live there and see how racism at its best, I should say. So when they go back home now, they know how to deal with things. But the old politicians then, it's like if the white man said, like Bush at the time and Reagan say jump, they say how high. And they allowed the country, the islands, to be used by these people. And then, you know, you will hear the Americans say they're declaring war on drugs. They're not really doing that.
And it's our own, using our own.
Yeah.
It's our own. It's a man that's telling you, oh, can you carry this rum bottle for me?
Yeah.
And it's not a white man coming to ask you.
I know.
It's a black man coming to ask you.
Yeah, that's true.
Did you see what I'm saying? So we got to stop using our own, because we're using our own as tools, right, for their agenda. And it's a white supremacist agenda. It's all about keeping us down. What do drugs do? What do? They contain your mind.
Yeah.
You know, it's already bad enough that they're trying to control our words, our thoughts, and our actions by their social engineering. You know, let alone all this as well. But I mean, if Jamaica and the islands are making a start, it's all good. What island are you from?
I'm from Jamaica.
Okay.
At one stage, America was planning, it was in this article, was planning to bomb Jamaica and blame it on Cuba because they wanted to invade Cuba. And they had no interest. The Jamaican people were right there in America. They protecting us, they did. And if they bombed us and blamed it on Cuba, we would have believed. We would have believed, because that was their excuse to invade Cuba. You know?
Well, the point is that Jamaica and other islands are always going to be a part of the political game, the chess game, right? And it's a black and white board, right? And it's about time people started to check that.
Yeah.
Yeah. A long, long time people started to check that and start to really check themselves. And as for what you were saying about America's plans and bombing Jamaica, I remember when a hurricane hit Jamaica, right? And it cleaned it up. Right, I was out there, it cleaned it up, it refreshed the place, new greenery, some kind of rubbish and stuff that was happening there had to stop. People in Jamaica are too materialistic.
Yeah, true.
And I'll say that time and time again, and I've been there and I've lived there, so I can testify to it. But I mean, I love Jamaican people with all my heart, and I love Jamaica with all my heart. And I know that if they get the right kind of mentality, instead of taking all the imports, exports, and start creating their own, agricultural summit and those kinds of things, that they'll be on the way to change. And there's no reason why they can't, but there's too much corruption. Yeah. And corruption has to stop. Greed. There's too much greed. Greed used to be the enemy of the black man, and now it's his best friend.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? Yeah. Well, Carol, it was very, very nice speaking to you, I must confess. Okay. It's been excellent. Have you got anything to add about what you think and who are responsible for the bombers before you go? The bombers in Africa and also the bombs that Clinton sent as well.
Oh, the bomb that Clinton sent definitely was to, distract the people from what was happening in his private life. And if you notice, anytime, like England and America, they're, not as popular with their people at home, they will try and, instigate some war to send up their popularity.
And we are always the victims.
And we are always the victim. And I don't know, maybe the bomb that was in Africa, I don't know, it could be an Arab, because at the end of the day, they don't like us either. Yeah. So, I just think black people need to get their act together and tell everybody, get out of our house until we clean it up. And then, accept death. Yeah. Accept death. Well, we live on. We live on. We live on. At the end of the day, you've got to die to be reborn. It's just like a plant. The old leaves drop off and the fresh new green ones just sprout out. Really, And we just need to sort it out ourselves. Because when we, ask for other people's help, everybody's looking for something and what they're going to get out of it, and they want more than us. And we don't have anything right now to give away. So we try and do it for ourselves.
Well, you know what? It's been absolutely wonderful speaking to you on this lovely Sunday afternoon. This is like the Sunday service. This is how church really should have been.
Just say to the people that to stay focused and, increase the peace, because we can't go around killing each other and think that, we're going to get our freedom like that. We still need to put down the gun and start talking to each other more. Yeah. Maybe we'll get somewhere, because by talking is the first step. Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks very much. And I'll speak to you again, Isis. Okay, then. Okay. Bye. Can I have a male caller, please? I do like to speak to men. You've been waiting a long time. Hey, girlfriend, me too. Me too. Okay, then, bye. Okay, take care. Respect. Peace and love. You're in tune to Genesis People's Talk Show, 91.6 FM. The live link number is 0956 367 691. Jools is on the line. Hello. Hello? Hello? Is this Jools? Oh, hi, a male caller. What's your name, or where are you calling from?
My name is Curtis, phoning from Dexford.
Okay, and what contribution have you got to make?
I would like to talk about women bleaching their skin.
Oh, lovely, please.
Well, I'd just like to say, I know a lot of black women, yeah? Mm-hmm. They look good. The black skin look good. Mm-hmm. Right?
Mm-hmm. I'm listening.
A couple of months later, you see them different skin.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, hang on, don't I know this girl? But I can't put my,
you know,
my tweet. I think, why this woman changed?
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, why are they bleach their skin to get light? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It does not make sense. I like to say to the black sister in them, leave the black skin alone.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Black is beautiful.
Yep.
That's the way I see it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
My mother is a black woman. She never once bleached her skin
Mm-hmm.
or want to change it.
Mm-hmm.
But you have these girls now, I don't know if it's a fashion or whatever it is, but it just seems to want to bleach their skin.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, Jools doesn't bleach her skin.
Well, I'm glad to hear that because as a black woman, you just got to stay black. I mean, what's the point bleaching your skin for what? To attract a man? Because it doesn't work.
What about our fixation with weave and blonde hair?
Well, boy, I think weave on, I suppose they've been, back in time, they've been doing the weave on for years, you know? Back in Africa or things like that.
Yeah.
But the blonde hair, I don't really check for that.
So you think that the weave is okay? We can pretend to have long, brown, silky European horsehair down to our backsides, and it looks
no,
good.
You're going too far. I didn't say that. Not all the way down to your back.
So, what you sound to say, you've got a length restriction now?
That's right. Yeah.
What kind of length restriction?
Just say about shoulder high.
Okay, so you like the bob cut?
Yeah, the bob ain't too bad. Yeah.
Okay. How many women do you know naturally have a bob cut straight?
Quite a few.
Oh, really?
Quite a lot of women, yeah.
Yeah, no, but I mean, if it's natural, it's good. It's when it's processed.
Because all that long hair thing is going out now. People ain't wearing that.
Oh, so
women.
You think they're victims of fashion, and so they follow someone?
That's what I'm saying. Everything is it's all about fashion. Just like clothes.
Yeah.
Bleaching the skin is a fashion. Trust me.
I understand it now.
Next year now, they probably even wouldn't bother with the bleaching.
So it's a fashion. I'll tell you why I'm curious, because like I said, I went into a chemist, right, and the chemist about, I'd say, a good 3 foot of storage space, I mean, display space, in the chemist, 3 foot, right, and 2 actual shelves were filled with fading creams. And I just thought, oh my goodness. I mean, not that I usually go into chemist, I usually go to like herbal shops and things like that, but I mean, I just went in there for a particular product with my aunt who wanted a rinse. And, I just thought, wow. Why are we stocking all this? And they've got more things that are harmful for us in chemists, and they've actually got that are good for us. Have you ever checked that?
That's true. But, as I say, it's a fashion, so the product, bring it in. You understand?
So if for instance, fashion, right? Because there's been a lot of things that have been fashion. I mean, I remember when Teddy Boys, it was fashionable to step up a black man. I'm talking about fashion can be a very serious thing.
That's right.
And who controls fashion? The media.
Yeah, the media. At the end of the day, you go there, it's all right then. Take, for instance, Versace, Tommy Hill.
Shirley Williams.
If you didn't have if you didn't have those designers, people won't be going out there, going crazy over them things. Understand?
It's just a piece of cloth. I mean, at the end of the day, what people want to realise is that it's a piece of cloth. If it burns in a fire, it's a piece of cloth. Yeah. If it gets turned green in a washing machine, it's a piece of cloth. Yeah. And the names that are associated with it, right? Especially the black youths that I see wearing them. And I mean, I heard this track. There's this DJ called Prince Terrorlocks, and he's got a track which is called Baggy Trousers. And in the track, he talks about how man I wear trousers tight like Shirley. And I thought, it's true.
Right.
Squeeze up in balls and all them things, but it's true. It's absolutely true. And the Versace and the this and the that, and they're not even really looking at how they look. Because, I mean, when a woman wants to see a man, I mean, I'm talking from a woman's perspective who likes to look at men, right? I ain't going to deny it, because, men are wonderful creatures. When I like to look at men, you like to see their shape, but you don't really want to see them in those kind of, apparel.
Right.
You like to see it loose and swing so you can judge its size.
That's true, but you see, when you go dance now, clubs, you see the guys in them tight outfit and whatever.
Glitter earrings. I mean, glitter. I'm in competition here. Men are asking me if I'm a man. I mean, I'm getting worried.
Hey, you see when we go club now, I have to watch who may I pull. Yeah, because some of them guys out there, boys, I don't know.
It's confusing.
Yeah, even the men, them have bleached them face now.
Really?
Oh, you mean?
Well, this is new to me. I mean, I haven't really discussed it about it. Well, tell me.
Are bleaching their face now. They're doing everything that women do. Men.
Wow.
Yeah, believe him, sister. It's out here, man. A lot of black men is turning funky. You know? Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know what to say about that, because when he shot me just then. He shot me.
Yeah, it's out there, it's happening, boy. I tell you, I don't know what's happening to the black people then, but boy, man, I tell you.
All right, what do you do? What do you do generally? I just want to know, because you never know. There might be something that you can do to actually change it.
What do I do?
Yeah.
I'm a painter and decorator.
You see? All right. You see, every time you're a painter and you're decorating, right, and you're doing something, and you're doing a job, and you're doing a job of a black person, right? And you go to use their bathroom, and if you see any skin lightening creams, just tell them, right, that it can actually cause skin cancer.
Yeah, well, you say...
Not the sun. The creams they're giving us, which they tell us has sunscreen. Yeah.
Right. So the black women, they don't realize that. Understand? If me or you should tell them, you know, that it causes cancer. But
So you were breaking up. You're going to have to repeat that last bit just for me. Hello? Oh, okay. I seem to have lost that caller. But back onto the actual topic that we were talking about. Back to the actual issue that we were talking about. This one, sorry. Yeah, back to the actual issue that I'm just getting used to the all the gadgets in the studio. So if there's a few hiccups, please excuse them. All right, I think that's him actually calling back. Okay. Hello. Hello, caller. Where are you calling from, or what's your name?
It's me,
Curtis.
I'm back.
Okay, hi, Curtis.
Yeah.
Yeah, carry on.
Yeah, what I was saying, a lot of black women do not know that this cream will cause cancer. And it's for we to tell them that, you understand? Because they don't know. I mean, as I say, it's a fashion to them.
Yeah, but, I mean, black men need to show black women as well, and black women need to show black men, I mean, on both sides, that they love and appreciate them, right, for who they are and for what they are, not only on the outside, but on the inside as well. And when I'm saying that, these creams are talking about taking out the blemishes, the skin marks after pregnancy, you know, any dark spots and all those kind of things. But a man's got to know that a woman, right, is never going to be perfect without spots and blemishes. So therefore, if you're natural, and people want to love your natural self.
Listen, I don't want my woman putting any RCL putting on them cream there. Listen, that get me vexed, because I said, why are you doing that for? This is the way I accept you. So what's the point of doing that, you know?
Yeah.
I love you for what you are. It's not, I don't want you to get any browner.
Yeah.
Fear. You understand?
Yeah. It's like, you know, now dark is in, because everything good, everybody say, yeah, man, that's dark. And I'm so pleased to hear it, because it's about time. The negative use of the word black, I'm just so sick of it.
I hear some girls, right? Trust me, I hear some girls say, boy, I'm bleaching my skin now. I don't want dark skin. They don't want dark skin. And I hear them say that. And when I hear them say that, boy, it really gets me angry, you know?
But I don't think they know what they're actually bleaching out. If they don't know what it is they're bleaching out, I don't think they understand the damage that they're actually doing to themselves, not only on the skin, but also psychologically as well.
Yeah, well, at the end of the day, I don't know what they're thinking when they bleaching their skin. I mean, they might bleaching it and going out there things say, well, if I'm lighter,
I'm going to get a man.
Catch a man, right? You understand?
Yep.
It doesn't work that way.
Nope.
We're black, stay black, and that's how it goes.
Yeah. But I mean, there's a lot of black women, because they see black men, right? Check this out. This is a reasoning for you.
I know what you're going to say.
This is a reasoning for you. They see that the black men are going after the white women, right? So what they try and say, right, if the black men are going for the white women, because the women look like a certain way, do you see what I'm saying? Like with a straight hair and all that. And that, well, if I do this, then he might go for me.
No, that is crap. It's all the man thinking. It's all the man is thinking. If a man wants to deal with a white woman because she's white, he will deal with her, right? I come here from 66. Okay? I've never dealt with a white woman. Living at home with my parents and my father, they never bring white man in their house. Okay?
Yeah.
The only people that knock the door was white is the postman or the milkman. You understand?
Yeah.
Right. They never. One time, my sister brought a white friend home from school. Yeah. And she was a nice girl, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, but you know, my mother said, "Well, when Maria bring them people in your family, you're used to them, you know." Yeah.
Yeah.
But she wasn't being racist or anything. You know, she just never used to it.
Yeah.
We came here and we grew up around black. I mean, obviously we got school and we grew up against among the white people and whatever. You know. And that was another turning point about going back to all that racist thing, you know?
Yeah.
In school.
I mean, I don't feel that. I mean, I feel that there are white people out there who I mean, generally go out there to meet a black man and are with a black man, and they, you know, they love this black man and they have children, and it's also longevity. It's longevity in genes, and it stands to reason, because remember this, right? A lot of white people, right? I'm not saying all, but a lot of white people, their racism stems from the fact that they are actually jealous of the fact that they are melanin resistant.
Okay.
Yep. Trust me, a lot of black white people would love to be black. Why do you think they sit on the beach and tan themselves brown?
It's true, because that's happening big time, especially in Hollywood and all them places.
Yep.
Them all inject them.
They have melanin. They have melanin injections. They all fighting to be black, and we fighting to be white.
They want big lip, big body.
Big
you know?
All our traits.
Yeah.
All our traits. You know, they'll soon be injecting, what do you call it? Rhythm.
Yeah, you know. Everything. Used to be black people, hey, we're blessed, you know.
Oh, we are blessed. I mean, we love every nation. We love every nation, and we are blessed. We love every nation, we are blessed. The only thing that I have, right, is when they launch a nasty attack on us. Then I have a problem with it. You know. And that is it. But people should be able to live together, side by side, you know, and there should be no problem. But it seems like whenever a certain race is involved, then there seems to be serious contention, violence, bloodshed, disease, you name it.
But the thing is, I can't understand with them, right? Look what they're doing to the world.
Yeah, exactly.
The system. They're just messing it up.
Look at Mother Earth. Mother Earth is crying.
Right. Because, you see, white man, they like to
dominate, control,
explore, conquer. You understand?
Yeah.
They will climb to the highest peak.
Yeah.
You ain't finding a black man doing anything.
Yeah.
They want to go to space. I don't know why they want to go to space.
Well, I mean, they're looking to explore. I mean, black man, right, throughout our time as a black nation, right, we've been able to envisage things without having to actually go to space, and to learn things without having to actually explore. So therefore, the fact of being a part of the universe has always been part of the oneness concept of the black nation. So therefore, if you're alien to that, then of course you will look to find other means, because any race that can make people starve and kill people while you're trying to travel somewhere and you're spending all that money on exploration, when you've got problems down there on the ground and you've got your children starving, you've got children with diseases that you can cure, and you have things like drug addiction, 200 million who can be cured, then, I mean, you know, it's got to be the world's in the hands of madmen.
That's right, because, you know, this is from day one. It's the same thing that went to Africa. You understand? Them rob, them kill, them loot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now that they stop doing that with the with black people, but in a way they're still doing it. They're going way up in the space there now. You know, I don't know what they're looking for. They're probably looking their way home. Trust me, because
Europa, you mean planet Europa? Yeah, you took me a joke.
I mean, boy, and all this millennium thing, you don't even bother ask me about it, because I don't know nothing, and I just live up the road from Greenwich, you understand?
Oh, the Millennium Project, that's what's called a brilliant waste of money. You know, because as far as I'm concerned, there are so many things needed in London, right?
Yeah.
I mean, alone as just one small area of the country, that how that can be spent, and even someone attempt to sit there and justify it, right? That's no truth and that's no justice. That's bull.
That is.
And it smells a mile high. That, as far as I'm concerned, I've seen it. I went to see it because, I mean, I personally was very curious. And I went to see what all this money was getting spent on. And when I had a look and I saw it, I just thought, this is typical of an ego-based nation, because for the millennium, you should be looking at solving some of the world's problems.
That's right.
You know, not at creating something to create hype and to big yourself up. It's about, you know, look at the debt. Why not cancel some of the debt that is owed around the world from what you've done by, you're saying you create a situation of emergency, yeah? They create an emergency situation, and then what they do is they come and they say, okay, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll help you in the situation. It's going to cost you this much, which means your country's going to be in debt. So we'll pass you some more guns, and of course they sold you the guns in the first place to start the first violence, right? And then because remember, no place in Africa, no black man manufactures guns, right? And no black man manufactures the drugs the chemicals needed for drug addiction. I mean, the hardcore drugs, right? So therefore, they bring the guns in, and then the guns are there, right? And then they've got the guns there, and then man and man's warring against each other, and they say, oh, you know, we've got to send someone else in to help you. This is going to cost you further money.
Right.
Yeah? And then the country gets into debt, and the only thing they've got no food, but they've got loads of guns.
Always. Just take, for instance, what's happening in Africa.
Yeah.
Instead of they give them help with the food and whatever, they're giving them guns.
Yep.
Guns. They go kill each other again, you know what I mean?
I mean, and anthrax.
Huh?
Anthrax. Have you heard of? Did you see that documentary which was on the TV about anthrax poisoning in Africa? There was a documentary. It wasn't specifically about anthrax. It was mainly based on the peace conciliation process. And what happened was that they exposed how they'd been poisoning South African people through water, chocolate, beer, cigarettes, and anthrax poisoning whole villages. Whole villages. I'm telling you, this is for real.
So what is it? Why they poisoning them for? What is it that they?
Well, what do you think population control means, and whose device is it?
The government.
Population control means control of the population. That means control of births and lives, which means also control of. Remember this: that the people who are in charge, right, at the moment of the world, or they think they're in charge of the world, basically they are in their minority. If you look at the figureheads, they are the minority in the world. If you look at South Africa alone as a microcosm of the world, you will find that 70% of the population is black and only 13% is white, yet they're running things. And that's what I'm saying is that's a microcosm of what's happening in the world today. You know, we cannot live fit, healthy lives in countries such as this.
That's right.
You know, so we really have to look at our reconditioning. And I mean, people talk about exodus as though it's a non-existent kind of situation.
I heard that that it's a plan, the government plan. I don't know.
Yeah, tell me.
But it's a plan that to kill off so much black people in this century. That's what I heard. And when you look into it, it could be true because.
Why is it anything? There's nothing that is impossible. There's nothing which is outside the realm of possibility, so therefore it probably is true. And I mean, if you look at facts, just basic facts around the world, it is true.
Definitely.
It is true.
Take for Rwanda. You remember the Rwanda thing?
Yep.
Yeah, all that ethnic cleansing and South Africa. I mean, thousands, millions of black people.
It's like it's almost like they're pro-life. Like you've got the organisations. We've got the basic population control, which is contraception.
Right.
Right. And then you've got the fearful event of AIDS.
Yeah.
Right. And then you've got the other diseases, which you can catch. And on top of that, you've got so many different things that you can die of at any time. And now it's not even safe to eat certain foods. I mean, what's going on?
You see? You can't eat meat. You can't eat egg. I mean, boy.
That's a good thing.
I don't like eggs. I don't know.
No, I mean, the meat and eggs. I mean, at the end of the day, it might force us to go back to our gardens and start growing some plants.
That's right. But you know, why it look like not to go raise some little chicken outside here, you know? Because if I can't eat eggs, I have to go raise my own. I mean, what's going to happen when we cannot... That's why they're starting to try and grow this eugenic, what do you call it? Some eugenic food, or whatever they call it. They're growing eugenic, or whatever it is.
Oh, are you talking about the beef thing?
Yeah, but they're growing some vegetables, eugenic, or whatever they call it.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Chemicals, but they
do you mean genetically modified vegetables?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
But the scientists said it could have an effect on the human system in...
Well, naturally. Yeah. Remember, what goes in must go out. I mean, basically, right? Sorry? I missed what you said. Oh, right, you was listening to me. I was listening to you. I was just about to say that, you know, these kind of vegetables are bound to have an effect. They're bound to. You can't go and get involved in those kinds of things and not think about the long-term implications. And your body is all you've got. And I mean, if you look at the birth rate of our community, even in this country alone, our birth rate is not high.
That's right.
You know, not as high as it really should be. But we are the non-white community is the majority on this planet. And if they're going to allow their butts to get kicked, right, by people who are on the wrong mindset, right, then that's their loss, isn't it?
That's right, yeah.
You know, and the thing is, the problem about it is that we're not thinking about our children's children.
No way. No.
You know, there's no passing on. What's going to happen?
Right. Only time will tell.
Yeah, but let's not be despondent. Let's be pleased about this, because you know what? Black people are now beginning to assess the situation. And if we can start to assess the situation can change. Because it's thought, action, change. You know, thought, action, change. Carry it through.
Boy, we've been trying to change a lot of things. Yeah, a lot of things.
It doesn't take much. One little change is enough, you know, because it's causation. It's a chain of causation. You might not even realize that your call might be connected with someone else, with something else, with something else.
That's true. Very true. You know, but going back in the 70s, yeah, 80s, when we wanted changes, you should know this anyhow. We used to go out there. We used to go out and make them changes.
Yeah.
Take, for instance, okay, the Stevens Lawrence thing, yeah? And they haven't put nobody in prison for it.
Yes.
And I'm saying, we used to go out there, we used to stand up, fight, and make those changes.
Okay.
You understand?
Yep.
Stephen Lawrence got killed now, what? How long now?
Marlon Downs. I mean, there are so many. There are so many. I mean, the number is, you know, innumerable. But I must move on to another caller because it is a people's talk show, and I spent quite a long time speaking to you, Curtis. I'm sorry for any of those callers that are dying to get through. Well, living to get through. Sorry, wrong use of language there. Living to get through and they can't get through. Curtis, peace and love. Thanks for giving your contribution. It was a long and hearty conversation. I said I wanted to speak to a man, not quite that long though, but it's all good.
One more thing to the black sisters.
Okay.
Stop use the bleaching cream.
Absolutely, I second that.
Natural, you know?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay, bye, bro.
Okay, bye.
Peace. Thanks. You are actually in tune to Genesis. I hope you've been listening to the conversations. I know they've been a bit long-winded. I'm going to take the next caller. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. You're in tune to Genesis 91.6 FM.
Yeah, hello.
What's your name or where are you calling from?
Yeah, it's Trevor from Camberwell.
Oh, hello, Trevor.
Yeah, very interesting show this morning. I'd like to talk about 3 topics. Bleaching, you mentioned.
Yeah.
Caribbean unity, and maybe quickly about The Voice, New Nation, and Tony Swell, yeah?
Okay.
Now, about bleaching, one aspect that hasn't been mentioned is, I think this thing, in terms of mindset, dates back from slavery.
Yeah.
The reason being, because have you heard? I'm sure you've heard of Willie Lynch, the slave owner in Jamaica, and he was asked to teach the white American slave owners how did he keep his slaves so calm without using a lot of military force. And he said to them his policy was divide and rule, and one of the highest factors in that was shade or color of skin. He used to, in other words, divide and rule by age, by shade. So this concept is deeply embedded from the time of slavery, coming right up to modern times. For example, in Jamaica, if you remember the beauty contest,
yeah,
the ladies who won it were those who approximate to a European kind of Eurocentric beauty, meaning straightish hair, the lighter ones, and there was a movement against that in Jamaica in the late 60s, the Black Power movement, who you had people with more afro hair winning these beauty contests. Also, you can see it in Jamaica with most of the prime ministers, except the present one, have been white or mixed race. You know, Buster Manty, Sir Donald Sangster, Michael Manley, whose mum was from Cornwall. And therefore, people in the society see success. You know, in order to succeed, they think that they have to try to bleach themselves and become lighter. I'm just using Jamaica as an example. It applied to the diaspora here, America, and so on.
Yeah.
Another point was very interesting about the melanin, that these people using this bleach, they're putting their health at risk because paradoxically, in reducing the melanin in their skin, because this bleach, I was reading, has, most of the bleaching creams have a chemical called hydroquinone.
That's right.
Which takes away the melanin.
That's right.
And now you have skin cancer appearing in the countries where bleaching is very dominant, like in Senegal, Gambia, also in Jamaica. So they're actually putting their health at risk, although they think they're going to socially succeed and things like that, just by bleaching the skin. And when they don't socially succeed, then it creates a lot of psychological mental health problems.
Yeah.
Plus physical cancer problems.
Yeah.
And as I just mentioned, this bleaching practice, I was reading somewhere, I think it was a Voice, where it was quite prevalent in the Gambia. The government, forgot his name, banned it, and people were kind of meeting at night to buy these creams. That's how brainwashed they were. Even though it was banned by a strong authoritarian government, they were actually flouting the law by meeting late at night in secret places to still kind of, you know, get this bleaching
Night bleach. It puts a whole new sense of the word bleaching, doesn't it?
So in general, many, not all, but some people bleach their skin because in this day and age, the dominant culture, the dominant sense of beauty is a European image of beauty, isn't it?
Yes.
And in their minds, they want to succeed. I think same thing like with Michael Jackson, as an example.
Oh, God, he's a worm. I'm sorry.
I know. I mean, no, it's...
Bad example. He's a worm.
If we were to change the concept of beauty, that's where it lies, isn't it?
It doesn't lie in plastic. It does not lie in plastic. And most
That's
of
what I'm
his
saying. The
beauties-
concept of beauty shouldn't just be the person with the straightest hair and things like that.
I agree.
You know, it's a mental rethinking, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, I think it has to be a whole general rethinking. I mean, I've been told, you know, I've heard that people, you know, once they say things like this, or they're belittling other people, it's not that. It's just that we have to look at our consciousness. You know, and in feeling conscious, you know, the 70s, everyone was proud of their afros, and then they went back to relax. It's like, oh gosh, you know, we stand out. It's not just about standing out. It's not just making a statement. It's just knowing yourself and what's good for you.
Or be happy with what you've got. If your hair is a certain way, why are you straightening it? Be happy with it.
Yeah.
Isn't it, you know? Also, I think a lady, I think she was from Jamaica, she rang in telling me about this marvelous Caribbean unity that's going on.
Yes.
Well, I don't try to sound to be negative, but recently, I mean, for example, I don't know if you know about the St. Kitts Nevis Federation.
Okay, yeah, I have heard of it.
Before it was St. Kitts, Nevis and Anguilla. Anguilla broke away because they wanted to remain part of Britain. And you remember Britain sent 6 policemen there in the 60s. Anyway, bring it up to date. St. Kitts Nevis had a referendum to separate from St. Kitts. I think it was about 60% voted to separate, but they didn't have a large enough majority to actually separate. So what I'm saying is there are moves towards Caribbean fragmentation.
Yes.
And for example, even in Jamaica, you had in the 60s the West Indies Federation, which was a good thing. It was a good sign of Caribbean unity. What happened in Jamaica, they had a referendum. The Jamaica Labour Party campaigned against any Caribbean unity. And the referendum, the federation broke up. What she was saying about I think it was CARICOM, is true. It's a loose common market of Caribbean countries. But even that, when they say CARICOM, they only include the English-speaking countries. So it's a kind of neo-colonial view that the Caribbean is just English-speaking and the former British Caribbean. Caribbean includes Cuba, Spanish-speaking, Dominican Republic, Spanish. You got Dutch-speaking states like Curacao, Aruba. You know, Caribbean is not just Jamaica, Barbados, Trinidad, and some people say Guyana, which is not even in the Caribbean. It's in South America.
Yeah.
So she is right that the CARICOM, at least it's a good starting point.
Yeah.
But particularly in Jamaica, based around the Jamaica Labour Party, there's a strong movement against any Caribbean unity.
Right.
And although they're not the government at the moment, you know, they're going to become the government because there's elections all the time.
Yes.
So there is a kind of some forces for unity, some forces for disunity. Now, talking about The Voice, she said that The Voice, I was quite surprised, I didn't know this actually, The Voice and New Nation are Caribbean papers. They're not Caribbean papers. At best, I think you could say they are black British papers, but as you said, they're not even owned by black people.
Yeah.
And many of the articles, for example, in The Voice, I noticed they have an American page, yeah?
Yeah.
But news from America. Then they have an international news page.
Yes.
But shouldn't they have, because it's the largest continent, and that's the common factor of all black people that originated from Africa. There's not even an Africa page.
Well,
Africa just comes with two little lines under the international page.
Yes.
So how could that be construed as an African or black paper?
Yes.
And New Nation, to give them their view, they have a separate page called the Africa page.
Yeah.
To be fair to them.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't call The Voice a Caribbean paper.
Yeah.
And she mentioned, as he likes to be known, Dr. Sewer.
Yes.
Dr.
Tony Sewell.
Well, he's a PhD, but I don't know. Anyway, I think he tries to wind people up. What the I'll say a good point about him, he speaks on very controversial subjects and he gets the debate going. And reading between the lines in some of his articles, I think he deliberately does it just to get a kind of, you know, vigorous reaction.
You mean he wants to get people like us talking about him?
That's right.
And I think we should stop. Let's change the subject. Who's Tony?
For example,
who's Tony? I mean, what does he say on black subjects? What does Tony say? If we are going to discuss black icons, so to speak, if Tony is a very controversial one.
He's not an icon, but he's just a writer, isn't he?
Oh, right, I don't know, but I mean, he's been talked about 4 times in this show, so he must be somewhere.
Well, he's a regular writer in The Voice. He's got a feature, you know, he's got a page.
Yeah, okay. He also writes for the Mirror, I think, the Sunday Mirror as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But sometimes what I don't like is he jumps on this, I think maybe because he writes for the Mirror, he jumps on the Eurocentric bandwagon. I'll give you an example. In his recent article, you know, the bombing in Kenya and things like that, Islam and Muslims are getting a very bad press.
Yes.
So he's jumped on that bandwagon, you know, what I call the demonization of Muslims bandwagon, saying that Islam is far from being I'm quoting here, Islam is far from being a peaceful religion. But also look at the history of Western Christianity, the Crusades, how many people they killed in the Middle East. And when, for example, the IRA, who said they're defending the Catholic community, commit acts of violence, they're not called Christian terrorists, are they?
It's not about, I don't think it's about religion. I mean, I must tell you this, I think it's about politricks. Right?
Yeah, it is about politics, but just like when someone who happened to be a Muslim commit a violent act, it's not on behalf of the Islam religion.
No, it's just like if a white man commits a violent act.
A terrorist act, the British press never call him, correctly, they never call him a Catholic terrorist. therefore, these people, they shouldn't call them Islamic terrorists. They're political terrorists.
I think we should deal with black people right now, because we'd still be calling monsters and we do something wrong, yeah? Anything bad that happens, everything's black. We need to be working on the issue, right, of how the media are allowed, right? Because if black is what we are and that's how we are identified, then we should be controlling the use of it. And I'm talking about the negative use of it. You know, because although those situations are bad situations and they were self-inflicted situations, right? And innocent people are always killed in those kinds of situations because we are the pawns of the game.
Yeah, because was it 200 and odd black people, Kenyans, were killed, isn't it?
Well, what I'm trying to say is we are always the pawn of the game.
And only 12 Americans were killed. And in the press, you hear more about these 12 Americans than the 200 and odd Africans that were killed, isn't it?
Well, that's what I'm trying to say, right?
Yeah.
The media, it does its very best. It's very, very utmost best to show black people and anything connected with black or melanated non-whites in a negative light.
But what I'm saying is, which is very disappointing, the so-called black press, like The Voice, sometimes they jump on that bandwagon, you know, they just perpetuate that image. Although they say they are a black newspaper, you had that lady calling in saying they're a Caribbean newspapers.
Yeah.
Which was news to me.
Yeah. Well,
okay, sister, thanks for listening anyway.
Yeah, it was nice speaking to you.
Yeah? Keep up the good work anyway.
Oh, thank you very much.
Okay.
I'm glad that you're enjoying the show.
Okay, bye.
Thank you, bye. You're listening to Jools on 91.6 FM, Genesis Radio. This is the People's Talk Show. It's all about you. Please call in. Hello? What's your name and where are you calling from? Oops, sorry. Hello, what's your name and where are you calling from? This is Jools.
It's Carol again.
Hello, Carol.
Responding to what that man was saying about my call. First, when I mentioned about the Caribbean period, I was referring to the articles, and you did correct me, and I stand correction. So if he was listening, he would have heard I mentioned that the Caribbean articles in The Voice. When I said
you did.
Yes. So I don't know what he's talking about. Secondly, he's talking about the Caribbean countries coming together. I think it's positive. If it's even one or two or three of them talking, it's a start. You know what I'm saying? And if they can, after three of them get together and do something, they can get the others involved, then so what? I don't think because they don't include maybe the Spanish-speaking one yet, we should be judging them. I think we should judge them what they're doing now.
Funny enough, the second language of Jamaica is Spanish. But anyway, carry on. The second language of Jamaica is Spanish.
No, they were the first people. They were the first people who to colonize Jamaica, but the English fought them out.
Yeah, I know. I said that the second language.
But not one of us I know speaks Spanish.
Oh, I do.
Even though they say the second language, because I don't. And when I was going to school, we tried, but it never worked out.
But get back to the point, my love.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, in the 60s, they did have the referendum, and Jamaica Labour Party did vote against it. And you know, but look at that time. We were colonialized, you know, and we were just coming into independence. I think we should be judged now, what we're doing now, and moving forward. And that, you know, they're making a start on they need our support rather than saying, oh, it's not going to work because, you know, it didn't work then, it's not going to work now, and we have, because, you know, even so, we have new people coming up with new ideas, and they need our support. And if it's three and two of them talking, then it's a start. And I wasn't referring to The Voice. Okay, it is a black newspaper, but I was referring to the Caribbean article, not that it was a Caribbean paper, and you did correct me.
Well, we both stand, he stands corrected, we all stand corrected.
Okay, then.
Yep, and I'd like you for calling in again, Carol, just to correct your point, because it is good that we do correct our points. If not, then people always misunderstand.
Okay, then.
Yep.
Okay,
all right,
bye.
nice speaking to you. Please call in. You're listening to Jools, who is sitting in on the People's Talk Show on 91.6 FM, Genesis Radio. The live link number is 0956 367 691. Please call in. As we're talking just then about... I'm going to take this call as well. No. Hello, can you tell me where you're calling from and what your name is, please?
Hi,
you're speaking to Jools.
Sandra from Peckham. I'd just like to actually advertise. Can I just do a little bit of advertising? We need some support from our community.
I'll tell you what you can do, right? You can advertise, but you know what I want you to do? I want you to talk on a burning issue first.
Yeah. Okay. right, the issue, I would like to talk about the melanin issue, and how it really does govern the majority of things, you know, like the planet and anything that's with colour and anything that hasn't got colour.
Just say that slowly for everyone to hear, because you're kind of rushing over the words, and I understand what you're saying, but not everybody might do. Do you see what I mean? Yeah, just say it slowly and clearly and tell everybody about the glorious aspects of melanin for me.
Okay, right, the melanin, right, it's everything's governed by it. Anything that's got colour is governed by it, you know, space and everything else. And I just want to touch on this there was... in the 60s, they brought out some tablets called melatonia. It says it in Chris Welsing's book. And what happened was it was giving black people a high, you know, making them, you know, do all the natural things that they do. And whereas white people, it was giving them a high, but they also had drawbacks on it. So they took it off the market. Now, in 1998, they brought it out. They said that they've actually conquered it, you know, and, you know, what's the word? You know, genetically or whatever they do with it, got it right. So now they've got all these white women talking about taking this tablet and how they feel 20 years younger. They can sleep well. They can have brilliant dreams. You know, their sex performance is on top. You know, all these things that, you know, they were taking back then, you know, they're taking now. And, you know, they're trying to fight it down, saying that, you know, they're going to have drawbacks on it and all the rest of it because they did in the 60s. But they're saying, no, you know, this melanin is so powerful, you know, that it, you know, to the white people, it's like, you know, this woman that was actually explaining it, she was saying that she's going to set up a shrine for this melatonia because, you know, as far as she's concerned, her whole life is totally changed, you know. So I think, yeah, people really need to read on Chris Welsing. And also about men, black men. She also talks about the food products that we eat. Now, a lot of food products is genetically engineered, right? So that means that we are getting like DNA from pigs, we are getting DNA from, they actually even use human DNA to make up some of these products. Now people might think, oh, it's not true, but it's facts, and that's why we are getting so many homosexual men. If you watch, anybody watch Jerry Springer, I'm shocked, you know, because the amount of black men I see on trying to be women, it's ridiculous, and I don't see that in Africa. I'm not talking about the European Africans. I'm talking about the original Africans. You know, they don't dress up and do all these kinds of things. You know, we have been modernized by the Europeans, and at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying, until we a lot of people say that. Well, in England as well, it's happening quite rightly. So,
yeah, come forward, sis. I want to hear you.
I'll let her have a go. At the end of the day, what I'm trying to say is that we talk about we have to go back to our roots or where we originated from. Now, last Saturday, I went to the Nation of Islam talk, Syed Mohammed. He was talking about the miseducation of black children. Now, it was all fine about talking about this, and then he's talking about Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. Now, I'm trying to say to him, if we're all supposed to go back to the original, how comes we're only stopping at Jesus Christ? Jesus Christ wasn't his original name anyway. So anybody who believes in Jesus Christ, I'm trying to say to him that it's a white man. And he's saying, but if you read in the Bible, I said, but I've read the Bible, and it tells me he's got lambs, you know, hair like lamb's wool. But at the end of the day, it's the image, you know. And I'm trying to say that if we're teaching the children that image of Jesus Christ, because wherever you go, even in any country, you know, when you talk about Jesus Christ, as far as they're concerned, he's blonde hair, blonde hair, white skin, you know. And I'm trying to, you know, if he's trying, it just makes me think, because I'm a black person, I'll say I'm not, you know, I wouldn't say I'm a educated person, but I can see, you know, and if I can see these people who are trying to educate my children and they can't go no further than Jesus Christ, then, you know, what are they trying to do to me and my children, you know? As I said, I believe for our nation to ever get anywhere we have to love ourselves. And the only way we're going to love ourselves is if we know about ourselves. And the only way we're going to know about ourselves is if we educate ourselves. And the only way we're going to educate ourselves is to put our children in black schools. Now, there are plenty of black Saturday schools, and any mother sitting on this radio station listening to this and got children, haven't got their children in black Saturday school, as far as I'm concerned, they're miseducating their children. Yeah? But I just wanted to say, this advertising that I'm trying to advertise is for our black community. Now, we've got a community centre up Lambeth. It's Welling Road. It's a youth centre. And what's happened is the council have now locked them out. And what they actually do there, it's a black initiative group. They do mentoring, you know what I'm saying? They do counselling for black people, Nubian Foundation School, black history classes, cultural exchanges, you know. Just all these things, everything that contains to us. And, you know, all this kind of good stuff that we are trying to do. You know, they're trying to close us down. So everybody on the radio station tomorrow.
So what do you need?
we need support. We need people to come down to Lambeth Town Hall at 7 o'clock tomorrow.
All right, so everybody must come down to Lambeth Town Hall. Or what road is that on?
That's on, I'm not sure.
Peckham High Road?
Is it Brixton Hill Road? I'm not quite sure it's in Brixton.
Where? Okay, well, I'll tell you what you need to do. Can you call me back? With the information, and I mean, what we will do is appeal. I'll tell you what, put the other caller on the line, go and get the information, right, and come back to the phone, because I know that you had someone in the background that had a burning issue that they wanted to discuss. So you run and get the address so that we can do a proper plug.
Okay, well, she doesn't want to come on.
Oh.
She's run off now.
Oh, she's lost her confidence.
Yeah.
Tell her to find it.
You know, keep up the good work, and it's nice to have Genesis back.
Oh.
I know all the problems that you're going through, you know, and at the end of the day, as I said, you know, I know black people talking about they want to forward themselves and all the rest of it. Now, when Genesis had that day, we had the day down in...
956-367-691. The number is 0956-367-691. Now, I'd like to send out an appeal for everybody to go to the Lambeth Town Centre tomorrow. It's very, very important at 7 o'clock, because we will be losing one of, you know, a very... Is it 11 o'clock? She said 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock or 11? 7. Hello, who's on the line?
Yes, greetings. Yeah, this is Kwesi from Ghana.
Okay, Kwesi. Nice to hear your voice on the line.
Most definitely. First of all, I'd like to pick up Kibara African scientists, Commissioner O.D. Briggy and Cooley. About this melanin. I did a show with Kibara last year regarding melanin. We had several tapes. And those that are interested in melanin can get that from Kibara still.
Yeah, I sent in a tape as well.
Pardon?
Yeah, I sent in the melanin one as well.
See?
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you think of it?
I did the Dr. Francis Cress Wesling one, which was the melanin lecture.
See?
And that was from a series of Black, which is very interesting. I thought it was very informative, and I thought it was very good. It was very scientific, but then again, I understand that side of it. But I think for people who don't, I think there were other breakdowns, because I think his name's Carol Barnes. Yeah, he does a selection as well, and they're quite good as well. But I mean, do continue, please.
No, please. What it is I heard you say that you didn't want to get too technical, because some people would not find, will be put off by it. But that's just the whole problem, is that black people tend to want to have things done in a very easy manner.
Simplistic.
Yeah, we don't like to read. We have to pick up book and read.
Yeah.
You understand?
That's why I said to read those kind of books, the ISIS papers, the Browder files. You know, we got to educate ourselves.
True, and that's where our problem lies. That reading also increases your vocabulary in more ways than one.
Absolutely.
And it seems like black people don't want to pick up book and read, because they want to listen tape. And but I know that a lot of people tend to want to use ISIS papers as their foundation for understanding melanin. No,
I don't think it's a foundation. I just think it's one of a school of books. There are so many different, publications now that you can get. Particularly in America, I've got a whole folder of stuff which was given to me to read, and it's got so many doctors and stuff that I never heard of, and this is dating back from 1970. So you can imagine, you know, and I haven't even finished it yet. I haven't even finished it yet. I mean, that's how much information is in it. But I mean, it goes very deeply into the actual mechanics of the brain. And I don't remember all the particular parts, and I can't do it because it's radio. It's hard to show descriptive mode of, you know, where the pineal gland is and how it works and how the melanocyte works, etc., etc. So rather than do that, talk about the benefits of it, because then you'll take an interest and you want to go and read more about it. You know, that I think that has to be the psychology, because it's just like anything else. You're not going to pick up a book unless you hear that it's good. You know, and a Browder filer. There are so many other books. I can't even remember them all anyway. But I mean, please, if you've got more, tell us all about it now.
Not at all. I mean, you said everything that needs to be said. All it is that in the terms of actually increasing melanin, dietary is very important.
Absolutely.
That's where the melanin is at. Melanin is also known in solubles in bodies of water and in vegetation.
Yep.
Basically in African foods and sun-blessed foods. The more sun-blessed food that you eat obviously determines how the food is processed after it's been gone through its natural process. But nevertheless, food dietary, I mean, I was born in Ghana. I mean, I'm 26. I've never been sick once because I maintain the African dietary.
Yes.
And it tends to increase your immunization greatly. I mean, there has been reports of women in Kenya who have rejected the AIDS virus after they've been infected because of their heightened immune system.
Yes.
And you seem to really, that's very important because melanin plays a very important part in all of this.
What foods? What foods? So, you know, bring it on. Tell us what foods. So, I mean, we can all increase our immune systems.
You know, there's a lot of African shops that sells a lot of, foods. I mean, like yam, plantain, cassava, gari, kenke, okra, fufu. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, a peanut soup, okra soup, and basically a lot of African-based foods tend to have a lot of melanin in it because of the way that there's a lot of sun in its process in how it's grown. I mean, we're talking photosynthesis here, transformation of sunlight to plant food for plants.
Yeah.
So it tends to be that anything that is not really that interferes with the growing process of food would intend to give you a lot of an ample amount of melanin to increase your immunization. Still, there is something called calcification of the pineal gland, which tends to be like if you start solving your problem and dealing with your problems from a European perspective, you tend to be stripped of your African essence. And therefore, you take in everything that is European, like you were saying, when these people bleach their skin and long hair, and everything tends to be very, very Europeanized. You tend to eat European foods. You tend to think European ways. You tend to do everything that's European, and it tends to stem your spiritual perception, your cognitive perception, psychomotive perception, and it tends to be like you become very, very Europeanized. People need to really realize that melanin is not just about increasing the color of your skin. It's not just about increasing the mentality. It's not just about increasing your emotional perception, but also your spiritual perception. The growth of your bones has to do with melanin. The growth of your intelligence has a lot to do with melanin. Dreams and perception has a lot to do with melanin. Rhythm, dancing, even basketball playing has to do a lot with melanin. Look at black people who reigns in the American football world, who reigns in the golf, who reigns in football. I mean, in all areas of life, even to do with ball control. Black people tend to have an exceptional quality when it comes to dominance in those areas. People really need to realize what melanin really is. It's a very, very important factor in black people. I mean, if you go into Egypt, in the Great Hall of Alexandria, you have life-size pictures of goddess Isis giving birth to the sun in the morning and taking back the sun at night. We tend to realize that the sun means a lot. It has a very important part to play in our whole existence. And no one needs to fear the sun because, like you said, we are children of the light.
So, yes, it's it.
But I was just made redundant the other day, so I have to watch my phone bill still.
Listen, you'll find more work, or in fact, like, you'll be good. You want to market some of the melanin stuff. You'll be very good at that. And I'll buy it because, I mean, we need to buy it, and we need to be able to get hold of it. And all we need is stockists who want to advertise. Do you see what I'm trying to say? And I mean, I would get it because, I mean, I'm the kind of person, I'll pick a whole load of blackberries out. I'm unfortunate that my father's got a huge garden. It's like an orchard. And I can go there and I can just pick so many fruits. And I'll actually just blend them up and drink them.
Easy.
You know, just live, because what I can't get while I'm here, I have to take what I can find. You know, but if you just make smoothies, your own smoothies, don't go and buy them in a shop. Just put everything in a blender. A blender's a good investment. And just do it all. Because even if you don't want to eat the hard food, you can blend it and make it into a sauce or something.
serious.
You know, and our children it's essential for our children to know about their melanin. When they say, "Mum, why am I black?" You know, it's your daughter, your son to say, because I got melanin and I am blessed.
Yeah, that's true, man. You're doing a good job still. I mean, big up the DJs. I mean, because I mean, without you lot, I mean, we won't be able to express our feelings.
It's true.
One thing is that black people, you must remember one thing is that the white people ain't going to let you treat them the same way they have treated you. So basically, I mean, get off your ass, man. I mean, and do what's necessary. I mean, too much laziness nowadays. Most of our problems is here because of our own devices. You understand? So, I mean, get off your ass, man, and do what save your soul. See, your soul is what is the link between you and your ancestors. Okay. Save your soul. I mean.
Thank you very much. Listen, I'm going to have to cut you. I've only got 10 minutes left on the call. Yeah, thanks very much.
No problem.
I'd like to say hello out to Commissioner if he's out there as well.
Easy.
I was looking forward to meeting you today.
All right.
All right, peace. Bye. Right, I'd like to say hello to Commissioner. I was looking forward to meeting you today, and you're not here. Everybody's in tune to 91.6 FM. I'd like to say yo out to Melanin Man and also to Mystery Man and to Chris across there as well, who are enjoying the show. We've only got 10 minutes left, so please call in. I'll give you the number for the People's Talk Show, and that is 0956 367 691. The number is 0956 367 691. You're in tune to Genesis FM 91.6, the People's Radio Talk Show. Hello. What's your name and where are you calling from? Hello? Oops. Hang on. Hello, you're in tune to Genesis. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Marsha from Walthamstow.
Hello, Marsha. Nice to hear from you.
Yeah. I'd like to bring up the subject about black babies adopted by other
white
colours.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, I don't think, personally, I don't think it should be done because we already, as black people, have lost our identity, and I just don't think it should be happening. I mean, I know other people would say, yeah, I mean, for the sake of the children, but personally, I don't feel so.
Yeah.
And then there's about black men going out with white women.
Yeah.
Personally, I feel so. You should stick with your own.
Yeah.
I mean, like in the Bible, it says stick with your own. I mean, we have to remember that it may come a day that we may have to go back to our own land. And I mean, anybody who's not of their own colour will, if you're with a white man, you're obliged to stay with him.
Yeah.
Where are you really gonna go? I mean, you're just gonna be full of bare confusion.
Yeah.
And then there's I remember back in school days, we was told that being black was not a nice thing to be.
Yeah.
I mean, laughed at by the other white children. So we used to try and leave our hair out and try and make it smooth.
Oh, I remember. Oh, I'm mixed race, really. Yeah. My dad's white.
Try and make it smooth, putting in all of the nice products to try and make it long. And then a few minutes later, go back, afro up.
Yeah, hey, listen. What are you talking about? People are now wearing wigs. That's nothing. That's nothing. And they think they look good. That's the worst part. And they going on stage showing off themselves like they look good and thinking, oh my goodness. Why am I wearing a hat?
I mean, now I see people wearing their twists and I'm just so glad that I see them taking out all of their relax and going back to their natural hair and twists.
Yep.
But I feel sometimes they're like hypocrites because all along they're saying, oh, no, I like my long, relaxed hair, you know what I mean, and flicking it everywhere.
Yep.
When they can't remember that, in the 60s, there used to be the Afro days.
Yep.
And people with black power.
Yep.
I mean, and in, I think it's the 80s, with all these different rap groups.
Yep.
Like, which brought up black awareness again, with Public Enemy and a whole load of other rap groups. But it's like now, music has changed so much that it's all turned to sex, drugs and violence.
Yeah.
And that's how we're promoting ourselves.
That's what I'm saying. It has to change. That's what I'm saying. I mean, Bop won't be coming out till next year. That's B-O-P. But when it does come, trust me, I'm sure the station will be the first, you know, to get it, because we need it.
Yeah, I mean, like, music, it plays a big part in us as black people.
Yeah.
Because that is our soul, one of our soul factors.
Yeah.
Because that is the way to put across our message.
Our melanin gets energized by music, by the vibration alone. So that's the reason why we feel good with it. And that's what I'm saying. That's why it's been exploited. That is exactly why it's been exploited, is because they know that we listen. So therefore, if they tell us that it's all right to slag off our mums, slag off our dads, slag off our brothers, slag off our sisters, you know, it's okay.
Mm.
You know, and that's what's being bred through music, and that's what I'm saying. There has to be a change. I'm hoping that, you know, this little contribution that we've had on the phone today, because I'm going to have to go soon because the show's actually finishing, would have gone some way to actually add into that, you know, because there's got to be a change. And the music, people have got to start making music with positive lyrics.
Yeah, I mean, like, one thing I was glad to see, because I went carnival the other day,
yeah,
is the black unity that I saw. I mean, I saw no violence on that day. Well, at the time that I went, I could see no violence, nothing. But it just shows me that what a good people we are as black people, and it made me feel good to see so much black people around. I mean, and together as one. I mean, and it made me feel real good.
How old are you, Marsha?
20.
20. Bigger up. Listen, I've got to say respect to you, because you know what? You have called in today and you've given such a massive contribution just by saying what you've said, because that's the truth. We are good people. It's the media. This is exactly my point. At the start of the show, I said it's the media that are perpetrating us in a negative light, and they are doing it on purpose. They are promoting blackness in a negative light. And I say Black Operation Positive has to start, you know, within ourselves. You know, we have to think. Every time you hear something negative, think, Bob, Black Operation Positive. Once you hear it negative, call in. Call up the radio station, call up the TV station, whoever, and complain, or email them, or fax them, or something. You know, even me, it might just go towards nothing. It might just be another caller who they ignore, but at least the call's been made. You know? If we call in the droves, then we can make change.
I mean, like, as I was saying about all of these different artists, I mean, like, it's just... When you go dance hall, it's just bare slackness being played, and people, you see them all whining and grinding all on each other, and we don't need that in these days. We need to start getting as one. I mean, like, even in school, when I was there, and I hear all around me sometimes people as cussing off each other, and like to try and get a one up by calling each other you African.
Yeah.
When I don't agree with that at all.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to say, yeah, I thought at one point when I wasn't educated that it was something that you should say.
Yeah.
And that to be around with the darker ones, darker people, then that just weren't good. And being light, then light skin, then you was a better person.
Did you ever consider buying lightening creams?
No, naturally light skin.
Yeah, naturally light skin. Did you ever relax your hair?
Yeah, I have to say I did, but...
Do you agree, though, but when we do it, right, because I've done it, come on, let's face it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm natural now, I've got locks now, but the point is that before, when I had it, I must admit, the thinking was that it's better to look like that.
Yeah.
Because that's what I was taught. It's handed down from my mother, from my grandmother. Do you know what I mean? and that was it.
Yeah, I mean, like, I was called Little Dreads. Because I always had my hair in twists.
Yeah.
But it's like everybody around me had their hair in all relaxed and that. So I thought, you know, you have to have your hair in relaxed in order to get men and boys and attract attention to yourself.
Yeah.
And really, I shouldn't have done that in the first place. And it only took, that my hair had to all get cut off in the first place by accident for me to realise that I didn't need the relax in the first place.
Exactly.
And
you
I
don't
was
need anything, though, do we?
naturally beautiful myself as a black woman.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, and that's how we all should be. Go back to our roots. We need that.
Yeah.
And we've got to realise that that's the only way to go forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, anyway, I've got to come off the
Yes,
phone.
listen,
now, so.
I'd like to thank you for your call. I think we're going to have one last caller. Listen, sis, to say respect to you because you're young and you're informed. And if you talk to more people, you know, and maybe we all start on a vibe. The people that are selling those products, right, like hair relaxers, they're not black. Yeah? Black people on the packet, white people getting the wage packet. Now, we have to start getting out of this mentality. And people like you, 20-year-olds, if you're 20 and you'll start to think again, we need the older people who are starting to think now, okay, then look, we have to start listening to the youth.
And to tell you the truth, more time I see the relaxer stuff, well, in the shops that I go to, are sold in shops that ain't even by black people.
Yeah.
I mean, for instance, PAC, the biggest... the biggest products of black people's products, and yet they ain't even black.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what's going on? You know what I mean? Everybody's making it...
exploitation.
Rinsing out us of our own things. And we're not even aware and thinking, we should be building up businesses.
We're not even interested in marketing black products because we don't think they sell. That's the mentality. But the mentality is that they do sell.
Yeah.
You know, they do sell. And, you know, we got to start doing our own music and stuff like that as well.
Yeah.
You know, that's what it's all about. Anyway, listen, I'm not going to burn your phone bill no longer. Thanks for calling in. Peace, love and guidance.
Right.
Okay, last caller. Take care.
Bye.
Bye. Next caller, please. Last caller on the live link number. That's 0956 367 691. I'll repeat that again. I had a bit of a bogey in the middle of that. 0956 367 691. You're the last caller on Genesis 91.6 FM. You're talking to Jools. Who's calling and where are you calling from? What's your name, Serene? Where are you calling from?
Yes, guys.
Sorry, sweetie, I didn't hear you.
Sorry, it's Joshua from Green Park.
Okay, Joshua from Green Park. What have you got to say to me, Josh?
Well, the skin bleaching is something that's been rooted in black people for a very long time. It's like it's an inferiority complex.
Yeah.
That it's a thing that's been going on for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, from way back from religion.
Yeah.
If you read in certain scriptures about how one of Noah's kids was cursed.
Yeah.
And so they say he's black. Him or Noah, I can't even remember, one of them people anyway. And they say that the Canaan.
Yes.
That's why their skin is black. And they say they went to Africa. I mean, these are some of the things they used even when they came to enslave the black man in Africa.
Yeah.
Through the Bibles, you know, it was justified in the Bible.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And it's a deeper thing than people really come to have an understanding of it, because from when you're youth, you read the Bible.
Yes. Well, you're given a Bible. That's one of the first books you're given.
Yeah. You know?
Yeah.
You see the Bible and all the images of white people.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So you're growing up, you see the angels are white.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jesus and the mother, all of them white. So you're growing up having that inferiority complex. Seeing that, you know, there's nothing really black out there put in a positive, you know?
Yeah.
Until now, that what you Genesis people is doing, I love to big you up, right?
Yeah, all live crew are here, and I'm sure they're listening, because I'm sure that they'll be thankful, because it's good for them to know that they're doing a job and it's needed. You know, it is needed, and that there are black people who listen and call in and contribute to the show. You know, so you got to thank yourself, and we thank you.
Yes, sir.
You know, because it's respect. Whatever you have to contribute is always given and always taken.
That's right.
You know?
Yeah, but if all people could listen, man, you know. What time is you lot on? Because it's the first time I pick you up, you know.
Oh, okay. I think 11 to 2 every Sunday.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Okay.
So you make sure you call in, you hear?
Yes, sister.
Yeah? Have you got anything you'd like to add before I sign off? Because I'm going now. This is the end of the People's Talk Show for Sunday. I'm going to be handing over to Senator B, who's going to be playing reggae. So keep listening. Nobody turn off the radio, no, me gone.
Yes. All right.
Then. Peace and love. Thanks for everybody for listening. I'll be back with you hopefully next week Sunday. Same place, same time. That's 11 till 2, 91.6. Genesis FM, live link, you know the same number hopefully it will be, and that'll be 0956367 I'd like to thank all the callers. That's Carol from Bermondsey, Dee from Peckham, Curtis from Deptford, Trevor from Camberwell, Sandra from Peckham, Akwesi from Walthamstow, one last caller, and the Youth Centre, the initiative group. We've got to remember to be there at 7 p.m. at Lambeth Town Hall. And Joshua from Green Park, last caller, hello.
Hi, it's Sandra again. I just got the information.
Okay.
Yeah, it's between Brixton Hill and Acre Lane.
Okay, between Brixton Hill
and Acre Lane.
And Acre Lane.
Yeah.
And the time is?
9.
Time is?
Southwest 9.
Southwest 9. And the time is?
It's 7 p.m.
7 p.m. So it's Southwest 9 in between Acre Lane.
Yeah, and Brixton Hill.
And Brixton Hill, and that's Lambeth Town Hall.
Yeah, tomorrow.
So calling out everybody, right, tomorrow. It's an essential that we try to help save this. I'll even try and come down myself tomorrow, actually.
Please.
It depends, because I pick my daughter up
most of the time, somebody from Genesis is always at a meeting or something.
Yeah.
You know, the radio station.
Yeah, exactly.
Program.
I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks very much.
Well, no problem. Thanks for calling in.
Okay.
And hopefully speak to you again.
Yep.
Okay.
Peace.
Take care,
Bye,
peace,
Jools.
and love. Bye. This is Jools signing off for today. I'm handing over to Senator. I hope you've enjoyed it. Oh, Jools has got to go. I'm going to go and get some rest. Please, if you've got any topics you'd like to talk about for next week, write them down for me. All right, then. See you soon. Peace, love, guidance. Melanin is the key.
Are the people station. We are the people station. We are the people station. We are Genesis FM. Genesis FM. London.
Accept your own and be yourself. Thank you for listening. Assalamu alaikum.
We are Genesis FM. London.
Black power station, educate the nation. Love that.
We are Genesis FM. London.
Hi, this is Horace Brown. Educate yourself. Hi, this is Horace Brown, and I'm listening to Genesis, and you should too, because you can educate yourself and your youth.
We are Genesis FM. London.
Genesis, London's only #1 station.
Genesis FM.
Stay tuned to Genesis Radio, and you'll know how to live as one. This is Luciano.
Genesis FM. London.
Yeah, I'm just phoning up to ask, what does Genesis really stand for?
Unity in the community. Lennox Lewis said that. We are Genesis FM.
London's only #1 station.
Genesis the Pullman Radio.
Yo, how much time we have a want so the confidence drop out of the palm, you know? His Imperial Majesty's work, a sizzler so that when I put it down now.
The people station. The people station. Genesis FM.
Genesis station. Educating the younger generation. Shucks almighty.
We are the people station.
Oh my goodness. What would I do without Genesis?
Genesis FM.
Hi, this is Sylvia Teller, and I tune into Genesis because they reach.
We are the people station. We are the people station. We are the people station. We are Genesis FM. Genesis FM. London.